All right, happy Friday, everybody. It's 7:21 right now, and taking a peek out. It's kind of cloudy out there. This is from our Plaza Cam, and we see some heat building. Are you ready? Today wasn't bad. We kept it in the 80s. Actually, today's high was 86, a little bit below normal. Hope you enjoyed that because that is done. Now we're running into the 90s. This heat wave it's going to hit us starting tomorrow. This thing's going to last a long time. So we've got our eyes on this. We saw some new stuff come in today that caused us to elevate this to our top alert. That's a first warned weather day. What that means is that weather could be dangerous, and I think for some of us it will be. And this is just going to be messy and not great as we look ahead. All right, so let's just kind of walk you through what we see. So the first part that I want to mention is why does this have our attention, and what's the nuts and bolts here? Well, at least this is going to last Saturday through Wednesday, probably a lot longer than that. All right, so we've got our weather day through that stretch right now. Saturday through Wednesday, this is going to be uncomfortable for everybody and dangerous for some of us. If you're working outside in this, it doesn't matter how healthy you are. If you're outside in this, working hard for any length of time or doing anything strenuous, this is the kind of thing that could land you in a hospital if you don't take care of yourself and take breaks and hydrate. And the thing is, we're just going to be pouring sweat. And whenever it's this humid, the way that our bodies cool themselves off is the sweat that we produce evaporates, and that evaporation process is a cooling process, and that's why we cool down. That's how our body's designed. The thing is, whenever it's super muggy outside, you just sweat and it doesn't evaporate, and we don't cool down, and you just get hotter and hotter and hotter, and that's how we get overheated. And this, again, dangerous for some of us. If you are sensitive to the heat, heat-related illness is just something we got to watch. And I'll explain more on that in just a second. But first, it's not just me saying this. It's that the National Weather Service put out the loudest bell they can ring for heat. It's called an extreme heat warning. You don't see these often, all right? So you might see one a summer, something like that. Maybe two in a summer if it's a bad summer. But we don't often get a heat index that could be up to 110. And in the pink zone, which includes Kansas City, Saturday at noon through Wednesday evening, we're under that extreme heat warning. And that means unusually hot. Now, there's an extreme heat watch to our north, and that's where it might not get quite as hot depending on some things like clouds. There may be clouds up here that limit some of the peak heating and maybe trim temperatures down just a little bit, at least for a day or two. So let's take a look at the reason why. This is what's going on here. This is due to what's lifting the veil of meteorology. Why would we get so hot and stay that way for so long? In the mid-levels of the atmosphere, what we watch in the summer is this area of high pressure. It's a big bubble of heat about 15 to 18,000 feet above the ground. And whenever this thing gets going, it brings a lot of hot air. And they settle on top of you. They kick away all the other storm systems. You don't get any fronts to come by, and you just bake. And it's descending air. The reason why we get hot is the air from upstairs in the atmosphere is coming down to ground level, which you think, oh, okay, that's bringing down cooler air, right? Well, whenever it descends from way high, it actually compresses and it gets hotter. So you get that compressing atmosphere, and it causes us to heat up. So this is called heat dome. This is the summer cousin to the winter polar vortex. If you've heard the polar vortex, this is the opposite of that. Kind of similar features in the fact that the other one's low pressure and it brings down the cold air, and that's what the polar vortex does, and you just get those horrendous cold snaps. So what happens here is that starts tomorrow, and look at this thing just spread and sprawl right on top of us. There's the middle of next week, and it's we're in the thickened core of this heat wave. Now let's just look ahead. All right, how long is this thing going to be here? I'm going to take you out as far as my graphic system will allow me to go, which is the following Monday toward the end of the month, and that dude is still here. And we need to be ready that through the rest of July, we're going to have excessively hot temperatures each and every day. I mean, I'm talking like 95 plus and a heat index of 105 or higher. That's what's on the table. I'm not saying that's going to happen. This is the big feature that we track. We can't see little features after a certain amount of time out. So there might be something small that comes in that could knock us down for a day or two. But generally speaking, pretty hot through the end of the month. So three things stand out about this heat wave. The first is going to be the intensity, and we've got a heat index of 105 to 110. That's pretty intense. This is not record-breaking. We've had hotter days, but not, this is up there. This is usually about as hot as we get in the summer, most summers. The other thing is it's prolonged. This is going to last a full week or more, maybe 2 weeks. So it just wears us down and kind of builds on itself. So if it were just a day, we could deal with that. But you start throwing on day after day, and if you're out in this and you're working in it or whatever, it just kind of wears the body down. And the other thing is we won't get a whole lot of relief at night. We're going to have near record warm nights. So that means our AC is just going to be cranking hard. And, you know, if you don't have good air conditioning, you know, some of us could lose air conditioning. Some of us don't have good air conditioning. Then you have a tough time kind of recalibrating and cooling back off at night. Because these low temperatures that you see here, you know, you might hit 78 for 10 minutes. But pretty much you're in those super muggy 80s all night long. And then briefly touch 78 as the sun comes up. You know, on like Monday or whatever, just looking at some of these days. So keep that in mind for like trying to rest and recover. It's tough. It's tough whenever it's really hot in your room. And the records here are, I don't think that we're going to necessarily hit records. We're kind of close a couple days, but look at the years that these are from. I mean, the 30s, the Dust Bowl years, our hottest years. And we're in the ballpark anyway with our nighttime temperatures. The heat index here, this is really what matters. Where the rubber meets the road is how our body interprets the heat whenever you factor the humidity and the high temperatures together. I actually think that this computer forecast is a little skinny for Saturday. Saturday's probably 105, Sunday's probably 106, Monday 107, 110, and then 105 plus pretty much every day next week. So just be ready for 105 each and every day, and some days might even exceed that. So let's look at your weekend here. Actual high temperature for Saturday's 93 is what we're forecasting. There is a storm chance, too. Actually, both days have a storm chance. Saturday's mainly in the morning. Sunday could spill over in the afternoon. Sunday's high is 94, by the way. So let's see if there's anything out there on radar now. We've had some storms over here by Manhattan and Emporia. You can see some down Redfield and southwest of KC. So, yeah, they're out there. Gardner, the spot that got all that rain. I mean, so many of us did, but Gardner got like 9.5 inches from the flash flood event. Baldwin City, Richmond, little spotty downpour, Edgerton. So, yeah, you might get a little bit. More of that's out over here by Emporia. So there's a little system out there. Now, if we go to the First Warn Future radar, we probably don't get much out of this, much more. Watch as this, you know, we get past sunset, and this fades out. So we're not likely to get it in any one area, but it's not impossible. Then watch what happens by early tomorrow morning. All right, so we get this kind of side swipe of storms up here to our northeast. It kind of misses us in the metro and most of our area, but that is a little system that's swinging by, and it could touch off a couple spotty downpours or even thunderstorms in the morning. So 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, we could have some of those. And there is a low risk because it's so warm and humid. The atmosphere is just kind of juiced up, ready to produce some thunderstorms that we could have a couple of them get briefly strong and throw out some gusty winds in this green zone, this level 1 zone. It does include Kansas City, so we could have a warning or two. We don't expect many, I actually don't expect any. It's just possible that we have a warning or two. So there's 9, 10, 11, and up to noon, we could see a little bit of rain. I'd love to have it all day long. I'd love to have some clouds and little light showers around. And then the afternoon comes in, though, and it's done. It's back out into sunshine. So let's see what we have at the moment. Temperatures, again, today weren't too bad. 85. Heat index ought to be like 92, something like that. Let's see. 93, 97 in Ottawa and Garnett. Now here's tomorrow, hour by hour. Put the chance that you see rain in the morning at 30%, 74, but we don't stay there long. We're at 82 by 9. We're near 90 by lunch, 93 and sunny for your afternoon. There's barely a breath of wind. I mean, just south at 5 to 10. It's stale. It's muggy. It's a hot summer day. And remember how we had the excessive heat watch, the red in our northern counties? A little cooler there. 89 in Bethany, 91 in Chillicothe, 90 in Maryville. You can see a little change in the colors. That's where we have maybe a little bit more cloud cover in some of those storms from that system that's northeast. Could trim them back a little bit, but 93 plus along and south of I-70. And here is your 7-day. I want to show you Sunday. See if we can get this to work. All right, Sunday, 94. Let's time some of the storms out. There you go, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Some spotty rains possible. Little downpour here or there. This computer likes them right over Kansas City. We'll see. It's possible. And then those may linger a little bit. There's 11, and we still have a few thunderstorms around. So we'll be watching for that. Just know that both days could have a little bit of rain. 95 on Monday, 96, 97. I mean, it just keeps going up. So we run our first warm weather day. It's, again, our highest alert all the way through Wednesday. Each of those days, 105 to 110 heat index. And then Thursday, Friday, we're thinking, well, why aren't those the highest alert? First warm, what's the difference? Well, one is the extreme heat warning ends on Wednesday, and that may get extended. If it does, then, these would become weather days too. But watch this. This is another reason why I kind of agree with that. Our humidity does start to come down. Now, it's still scalding hot, 98. But if it's a dry heat, it may not be a heat index quite as high. The humidity really does matter. So 98 with low humidity would feel like 99 or 100. So a little bit better. Still hot, but a little bit better. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. But it's still 98 degrees. So anyway. There's the latest for you, everybody. Let me check the comments here, see if anybody's got any questions. Dakota. All right, let's see. Oh, it's a great day, buddy. The Ring of Fire. Yeah, the heat dome sometimes is called the Ring of Fire. So, yeah, I'm not ready neither, but here it comes. It's summertime in the Midwest. We get hot stretches. We'll deal with it. We'll get through it together. We're all going to be in it. So just hope that you might want to change your AC filter this weekend. That helps. That really does. So something to think about. And otherwise, just, we know the drill. We've been here. We've lived it long enough, but just want to get you ready for it. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have updates for you at 10. Something that you may want to see there is the latest forecast radar for Saturday and what that may look like for your plans, especially for the morning. So updates there. And in the meantime, have a great night. Take care. Have a great weekend. We'll see you at 10.